Hey, welcome to Beyond the Surf. We are here with Jason Lee for this episode of this vlog. And Dave's been gracious to open up his pad for us. And we're going to be talking to Jason Lee, guys. So welcome, my friends.
Hey.
It's been freaking a long time, man.
It's been a long time,
A long time, man. Love the place.
Thank you.
And y'all are going to get a little personal tour later, so don't worry about that. We got some goodies in store for you guys. So we're going to open this up, y'all, this afternoon with Jason Lee, man. I'd like to talk about your intro to the your journey into surf.
Yeah.
How did you get started? What was the catalyst for the genre for you?
Yeah, the real catalyst would have been just style of playing, because I play right-handed, but I do everything left-handed.
Right.
With that involves dexterity. Gotcha. And so I at the time my uncle had been mentoring me after school every day for years, and I think it was either him or someone that had turned me on to surf, and then much like the compilation CD that you really picked up when you were young too.
Right.
I heard that and I'm like, man, if that could make my right hand faster, I started kind of getting into it that way. So I already was really getting my road mapping done on the guitar at a pretty young age, but because I'm used to writing that way every day, but just the right hand wasn't as fast as it could have been.
Right.
So to get that just insane speed out of it, surf was kind of
like the natural feel for it,
man.
Yeah,
so it just kind of felt
That's
right.
Killer,
and
man.
Very nostalgic person anyways.
Right.
So it just kind of fell into place.
And who was the artist that grabbed you, man, thinking, I gotta do that, man, that surf thing, man?
Yeah, it still would have been Dick Dale. And then a few riffs off some Beach Boys.
Sweet.
So
Beach
like my
Boys,
parents,
I love Beach Boys.
Yeah, so my parents, they're surf. I mean, my parents would have Beach Boys on occasionally, and I'd hear a riff, and I'm like, wait a minute, wait, what was that? And I'm like, why can't I just get more of that? I literally just thought it was like pop based the whole time, but then I'd hear a riff, and I'm like, I want just that all the time.
I gotta do that, yeah. And so with that takeoff, then what was your main guitar, man, that you had at that time to roll with surf?
At that time, I think I started with a Jaguar.
Jaguar, cool, man.
Yeah, and then I got a Gretsch pretty young, luckily, and kind of got like hooked on those too.
Was this guy purely an accidental, man, getting into Gretsch? Was there an artist specifically that got you into it?
Just Brian Setzer. Let's just be real.
Oh yeah, I love him, man.
At the time, I hit at the pivotal. I hit my own age at the pivotal time of when he had already done so much as a career, and then that big band boom hit in the 90s.
Right.
I'm already pretty young, playing for 10, 12 years at that time already, and I'm like, whoa, I could maybe try and learn some of his riffs.
Right.
But keep in mind, this whole time, I'm liking surf. Like 80% of me is a surf guy.
Right.
But I'm trying to learn the Setzer riffs. So maybe that's just eventually 20 years later, like how I have my style.
The connection.
Yeah.
And even nowadays too, I always associate, especially the shows with surf and rockabilly, they always went well together. And so that's what reminded me with the correlation of kind of both of those little areas, because they share some similarities, man, to some degree. But that's cool, man.
Yeah, I think so. And I think just again, going back to like the nostalgia topic, you can always have a surf band opening for a rockabilly band or something at a car show.
Yeah,
or there's tons
car shows are great. Man.
Yeah, because it's a good staple, and then those people that bring their cars can check out both bands. I think surf also does really well for car shows because there's no singing. Let's be real. So then that way, if I had one of my cars there, you and I could be talking about my car while the band's playing, and it just works out really well. It's like a soundtrack in the real world.
Exactly. It's like, do you hear that, man? It goes rad with this car.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. And amplifier-wise, what was the first amplifier that you had going back in the day?
So, surf guys would probably trip on this.
That's all right.
I was blessed pretty young and didn't know it, that same uncle that was mentoring me would let me carry to school for the junior high performances. I was carrying around a 64 Blackface Deluxe Reverb.
Really?
In the back of my mom's Firebird.
Dang. That's bad.
And that was me in the early 90s, was carrying that thing into school, like, 12, 13, like dragging that thing, because at the time, when you're 13 in the early 90s, amps weren't that loud for the money. So everybody had this little knockoff Chinese, like $100 amp, and they just, you couldn't really get wattage for your dollar amount back then.
Right.
And so my uncle was nice enough to let me carry it around. I'm honored to own it now. I'll show you that later.
Yes.
And I'm still revamping it every so years. I keep trying to, bring it back to stock. And I promised my grandma I would always, obviously hold on to it. And it was just neat for me to have that at a young age.
Heck yeah, man. It's an item that's been passed on to you that's going to still make music and continue to do so.
Yeah, it's awesome. And it's on the R.I.P.tides albums and stuff too. So it's cool that it's like, it's back out there.
And speaking of album too, way back in the day, was it Blood on the Beach? Actually, dig that, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Especially the Nightcrawlers,
Wow.
Seriously, man. I dig that stuff, man, because it's so organic. It's so, there's a rawness, there's an energy that's captured, man.
Yeah.
Some of those early recordings, man.
Wow,
and
that's pre-R.I.P.tides. That's a long time ago, yeah.
Have you ever, any plans, man, to revisit those?
Yes.
And do a revision of it or
yeah, Dionysus Records, we talked about trying to like do like a 10-inch. Of the main stuff off Blood on the Beach, and then just call it like Jason Lee, the original tracks or something, because all it was, I did everything to a click with no drums, and then the original R.I.P.tides drummer came in and did the drums, but everything, the reason it's raw is because I was just writing stuff on the spot onto a click drum, and then that was it. Yeah.
There's just an essence to it, man, seriously.
Thanks. Yeah, sometimes I go back too, because now I do stuff like, now the stuff I do for TV and film and documentaries is so polished. Right. I go back and I'm like, wow, like I couldn't even.
To the roots, man.
I couldn't even think to do it that raw anymore. Right. I'd be like, nah, I'll do a better take.
Right.
But it's cool.
There's just a captured moment with that.
Yeah.
Which I have on my iPod, and you guys will see that. A little bit of that in my iPod. Give you a photo of that, little sample. But yeah, to this day, it's fantastic, man, seriously. So.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm glad, that's cool to bring up.
Yeah, and I have that in my MP3 flash card in the car, man, in my iPod, it's amazing. And so that came out back in, what, 05?
Probably 05. I was working at Guitar Center at the time, and like I just had time to like record all night, go to work and talk guitars all day, go home, record all night, talk guitars all day.
Man. And you got all that juice, all that oomph. You had to lay it down.
Yep.
That's right. That's
that
fantastic.
Was fun times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, after that album, what was your next journey, man, from that album?
Yeah, the next
evolution.
Yeah, the next evolution from that then would have been that same year I put it out as like an EP. Like an EP, basically, that I could like just give out. Right. Then that's when the original bandmates from the R.I.P.tides, they had all worked at Guitar Center or different Guitar Centers, and I would go do those stores, and I'd put the CD in the department, and they'd hear it, and they're like, what the hell is this? And they're like, you got to make a band out of this. And I'm like, oh no, man, it's just like my solo thing. I don't really care. And they're like, no, you should do a band.
That's rad.
And then that's how the bass player started the band with me, and then really brought his sound in. Yeah. And then they got to pick their name. Now, obviously, there's the original R.I.P.tides from the 80s. We knew that, but like 17 years ago, they were defunct. Like we Googled at the time Google wasn't hot. We Yahoo'd the crap out of it to see if they were fine. They were like plenty defunct. Got the emails, so we put the dots in there because we're everything we write in is in minor for the most part. So we thought R.I.P. like a little play on the R.I.P.tides,
which is brilliant too, man. I always dug that. Visual.
It's kind of fun. Yeah. And then they got to pick the name. It was going to be like whatever. Jason, I'm making it up, but like Jason Lee and the Marauders or something like And then when they did R.I.P.tides, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then of course the original R.I.P.tides wanted to come back a few years ago, which is great. They're nice guys.
It's fantastic.
And then that just kind of started going busy. Yeah.
That's fantastic, man. And then thereafter, man, there was a record for Dionysus that you put out, right? Probably back in
2013, I think, was the initial when we got signed, and then that was because of doing all the shows at Tiki Oasis, and then really getting entrenched into the Tiki subculture and playing like every event, which has just been an amazing ride thus far. So first self-titled album came out, I think, 2013, and then by 2017, 2018, Monsters in My Taste came out, and that sold out in like 2 weeks, like worldwide. It was worldwide. Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, and that's great, man. With the submerse or the cross pollination, man. Tiki and surf and exotica. Yeah, it's like they all like rockabilly, man. They all intertwine, and you can really create your own signature vibe of the intro. And with Tiki, is that about the period time that you adopted Tiki, man? Or
yeah, it was right then. It was yeah, because we had gotten hired specifically just to do a modeling show at Tiki Oasis when the girls came down and they said, hey, you can do originals, but you have to kind of write the music as they're coming down.
Right.
And you know, I mean, I had been writing so much, I'm like, we can do that, sure, you know. And then after that, it just got crazy. Playing, 2 or 3 shows a day at Tiki Oasis every year.
That's the exposure.
Yeah, and then I taught there for 7 years, symposiums, so that was an honor.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, Tiki, man, there's always been a mystique with that, and dig the how it's been rolling and rolling and rolling, the evolution of it with all the bands, like the Hula Girls too, and there's just this group down here in Southern California.
There's a very tight-knit group of us. There's probably like, I mean, I am not gonna, coin it smaller than it could be, but there's probably like 11 of us in SoCal that really do all the shows.
It's starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, it's totally getting bigger.
Yeah.
There's just the ones of us that have been doing it, probably 15 years now at the events. Exactly, yeah. So now it's neat because I do Tiki Caliente in Palm Springs again. I'll be there next month and all that. But now it's interesting that I'm about to hit 40 this year, and I've already done all the events, and now I get to pick what I want, when I get to play, and then really the point is that then I get to hang out and watch these younger bands come up, and I'm like, holy crap, they're doing it right.
Right.
There's a lot out there, but there's some that are doing it right, where I'm like, whoa.
Getting it, man.
And then, and I got these new kids here in San Diego called the Wax Sultans. They've been opening up for us. I'm gonna start doing a double 45 with them.
Sweet.
Jason Lee meets the Wax Sultans. All these new just projects coming out that are killing it, that are far younger than I am.
Yeah, that's so amazing with this next generation of surf and Tiki that they are putting out. It's just amazing, the energy, the commitment, the authenticity, if you want to call it that. Always blows me away. It blows me away, the stuff that's coming out continuously, man.
Yeah.
From up and down the West Coast, Europe, the West. Did I mention the East Coast?
They got their own style, and there's a lot more East Coast coming out in the last 2 years. East Coast just blew up.
Yeah, it's just amazing, man, how much is coming out, and I want to say maybe it's to do with COVID, the closure. Everybody was enclosed, man, and creativity was flowing like crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, did you experience that at all with the weirdness of COVID, keeping things closed? Did you get creative, and how was that for you?
COVID was great to me. I mean, I work contractually for a lot of the stuff I do now. So what's great is
do it remotely, right?
Yeah, or in LA. And then what's cool about working contractual is, let's say it's a month and a half before COVID, I already have an annual contract.
Cool, man.
So I've already got work for the year. So what's cool is that it's kind of like saying, okay, you still have this work. We know you can work from home. You don't have to be at X club as much, and so, I mean, personally, I had a ton of work. I probably got more work from COVID. Other groups, they either rose to the occasion, or some of them just kind of took it chill, which I respect too.
Right.
Everyone had their own avenue of what they did. But I mean, the MI industry, which is what I work in, the music industry, or musical instrument industry. That's MI. It would doubled. Damn. So at home, interfaces to your computer, all that stuff, you couldn't get it in stock anywhere.
Yeah, because everybody's buying it up, man.
Yeah, making music at home, so it's awesome.
Yeah, that's how it was with myself too as well, man. Create. So, Jason, with Gretsch, you have an affiliation with Gretsch where you have a sponsorship. Can you tell us about that sponsorship with Gretsch? How did that all come about?
Yeah, so I think it's like at the NAMM show multiple times. I'd meet the family and stuff like that. And then once I started doing symposiums for Tiki Oasis, we developed a really cool relationship over the years. And what's great about that is, like when I was doing the teaching symposiums, those are kind of all based off of my YouTube series that I had for years. And then we would do a giveaway, so if you came to the class, you could win a Gretsch. I mean, it's a pretty cool thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to go to a guitar class and win a guitar.
Like just the chance.
Yeah, and then the relationship started developing more into sponsoring shows and things like that, and getting a little more kind of entrenched and trying to represent Gretsch on the surf front. I think you and I can both agree there's still about 3 different guitars that surf guys like to gravitate towards, and exactly. I wanted to kind of make sure it was a little different, and with the Gretsch sound,
man, which I really dug. You know, your use of it.
Yeah, thanks.
Because it breaks up the guitar avenues. You know.
Yeah.
You know, you can make music with any of these. It just blows me away, man.
Yeah. So what's been great is I've been able to do a lot of different things with them over the years. This is my Penguin that I use. I'm known with Gretsch for White Falcons. I definitely try and manhandle a Falcon like it's a toy, especially with my playing style. And with this, this is one that I can carry on the plane all the time. So a lot of times we do like jumper, like kind of like jumper tours where you're always like, you don't have stuff checked in for you. You don't have the money to have all these people bring you stuff.
Right.
Or they can't backline Gretches. It just doesn't happen. They won't, like a shop won't let you do that.
Right.
So with this one, it fits in this over-the-shoulder bag. It goes on the plane. But the really cool thing with this one is that it has my custom TV Jones that TV Jones made for me for the pre-COVID East Coast tour that the R.I.P.tides did, and I taught. Yeah, I taught with this one. These are actually a custom-made magnetron that are done in a traditional, you know, Dynasonic housing, but they're double slug poles, wound how I wanted them with the white in it, just to tie it in. Yeah, really cool. So it just gives it a really nice bell-like tone, and then I don't have the single coil problem on stage of the buzz, stuff like that. So it's a great one. It's a pretty, you know, it's still a pretty traditional Penguin. I've got my little TV Jones on the back because he definitely made me the pickups. And then this is an additional Bigsby, the real Bigsby, the heavy one, you know, not the patented or anything like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so I love it. It's just a nice, and it's a short scale. So the Falcon is 25.5. This is short scale, so still a totally different sound.
Such a different feel too, man.
Yep. I got this still up on top so I can flick it when I need to.
That's rad.
Yeah, but the Gretsch thing's been amazing. The family's been great, you know.
Fantastic.
Fred will call me on my birthday. Fred Gretsch himself. That's pretty cool.
Oh, heck yeah. And is Gretsch located in SoCal here, or is it back east?
No, they're still, so a lot of the family's still down south, like southeast. And then they have their affiliation with Fender. So then if it's US, they're going to be Corona-based, and then the company's based out of Arizona.
Yeah, that always blew me out of the water with the association with Fender and Gretsch.
Yeah, and that happened about 2003, if my memory serves correct. I remember when it happened, yeah.
The joint of forces.
Yeah.
So that's great, man. That's really fantastic.
Yeah.
And is there any customization with the electronics here, with the pickups? Are they pretty stock?
They're pretty stock. Yeah, I only have one of the tones hooked up, so then that way it's just the volume. You know, and then the individual volumes, so that I can do swells if I need to, or if I need to turn it down to tune, or if we're doing sound check, I can turn it down. But it's got the beautiful jeweled knobs and stuff. But I don't really, in the last probably like 6 years, I really have kind of stepped out of trying to like overthink, you know, wiring harnesses, reverb units. It's a great thing. But there's a point when you do most of it for your living that you need it to just work, and if it sounds good and the band likes it, you just roll with it. You just keep it that way.
Keep it consistent.
Yep. So sometimes my stuff's just been sitting stock with just, you know, pickups that Tom will make me. And the really cool thing is too, I mean, I've done even shows for TV Jones, like we've done the, you know, at the NAMM show, we'll host a show at a theater for TV Jones with all the TV Jones artists, and then he'll actually come. He's supposed to come there as a fan of the show. Right, or a sponsor, and he's in here telling me the height of where they're supposed to be, and so that's pretty cool. When he does that for Brian Setzer, he's doing that for my guitars, so that means a lot.
Take a quick peek and
tells me where the heights need to be and everything. So I still tech all my own stuff, but the orchestra has a tech. We have to have a tech for the orchestra because there's so many guitar changes. Yeah.
Right.
So.
And what string gauges do you end up
11s,
using?
always. 11s.
Nice.
Yeah, 11 to 49.
Sweet.
That has a really nice strong rebound
Right.
on the Bigsby. And I set my Bigsbys up perfectly, so every single string spacing is dead on perfect.
Right.
So that way nothing's askew.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, just use the real ones. You know, these are the, you know, patented Bigsbys are cool for about $150, but you need to spend $350 or something to get the real one.
The
yeah. And then you won't be tuning as much on on stage.
Right. On stage.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Cool.
Yeah, but it's been fun. It's just amazing, like watching people, you know, email me like, hey, I saw you live once, or I saw a video you did where you had a Gretsch, and I saw that it actually works for surf. Or I still enjoy getting tagged in like surf groups online.
It's cool.
You know, oh, does anyone even use a Gretsch for surf? And then I get tagged in it, and it's kind of like, well, here's 300 videos of me using them before. It's fun.
So it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, checking out Jason Lee's studio, and he's going to give us the personal tour, guys.
Check it out.
And here we go.
No one's actually been in here before. This is what I do. This is at the house, so. But this is the Fuzz Shack. This is where I do either all my pre-production, where I do documentary work or you know, television and film work. So I've got enough here where I can really do anything I need to at midnight, you know, if I get a call, that kind of stuff. And it's an evolving inventory here. So a lot of times I'm either taking stuff, you know, back to storage if I like, okay, I need this for a week. So right now, you know, a lot of stuff is very keys based. I try to have every major keys based thing you would need too. So this is, you know, obviously like the very infamous red Farfisa for the 60s kind of mod garage sound. My uncle that we spoke about earlier, I inherited this from him. So this is the Moog Voyager. It's kind of based off of a Model D. I have an original Prodigy here too, which is cool. So this is used for a lot of different stuff I do in LA. So this goes back and forth. And just tons of stuff. I know a lot of the surf fans are into Fender stuff. And so here's the the deluxe reverb that we talked about. So this is the one I used in the early 90s as a kid. And it just keeps getting revamped. You know, it's got a new like tremolo circuit I put in it, new tubes obviously, but this is on all the R.I.P.tides stuff and a few TV programs. A 62 Bassman that I use a lot if I do get called for rockabilly, which is really cool. A reissue, the first original reverb unit I ever had. This is the Bigsby just sitting in a box. So you know, that's the one that's on everything for the most part. So 94, first year reissue. Right, Kyle?
Right. Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah, it's been around everywhere. It's fallen off the overhead on planes, and then the 66 dual Showman. It's one of the Showmans that was really done as a dual, you know, as a four-round. And this has the California Webers in it, which is just amazing. And this has the Sozo caps in it. So I've got 3 Showman rigs. The other 2 are in storage. Right. And so those will either have, you know, JBLs or something more modern. But this, I really wanted an amp at my age at that time, about 10 years ago, to break in on my own. And so I bought those Sozo caps. Right. I did the 200-hour break-in period, and then did the California, you know, and they got the cone on them too, which is really cool.
Gotta have those, man, for the bright.
Yeah, and then the rotation. This is crazy. And then the rotation of guitars, right here. So this is just some of them. You know, just tons of stuff in here. It's really cool. It's a cool vibe. I don't know. What's the vibe, guys? I don't know.
It's just making magic music, man. Magical.
Yeah.
It's a studio.
Yeah. These are my rudders. These are cool. If you're really into like hand-built boutique stuff. He has the Juju. So he now is in Tennessee. But he used to live here in town, which is cool. And so we would go over to a shop and hang out. And this is like a real. They're both nitro, but this is a real, again, TV Jones, that whole thing. So this is a one. Yeah, the neck is stunning. There's the flame in it. You can see it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So when I was the writer for like Duck Dynasty on A&E and those shows, this is all the stuff that we used for that. And then he did a pink Strat for me too. I love pink guitars.
Dig it, man.
Yeah, anything that's kind of soft and mid-century. 54 grit, she just sits around. This is like just for ideas. Nice. Original Dynasonic pickup. First gen.
The acoustic vibe too.
Yep.
So totally. If you get that late night inspiration, man, you pick her up.
Yeah, I just kind of chill here, and it's a pre-production studio, so you don't have to have like a whole band over and try and track them. You can have like a writing. You would come over. I'd say, hey, let's get all the details right now. Let's get a demo written, and then we'll go to the studio. So that's what this studio serves as, and it's great. Just really light soundproofing, stuff like that. Yeah, and the Fuzz Shack just happened because I kept getting so many 60s gigs, that weren't even surf. It's like, oh no, man, we want you to sound like Black Keys. Yeah, and I just kept getting tons of jobs that was just keys and dirty guitar. And I'm like, this place just doesn't need to be called like the Surf Shack. Right. It's just the Fuzz Shack. Yeah. And it works. It's a cool vibe here at night.
I love the artwork you got going on too.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's just all different stuff from either Tiki Oasis or Tiki events over the years. Stuff like that. I just keep a whiteboard for the orchestra when we do the R.I.P.tides orchestra. I have to keep everything kind of in order, so I just I have daily checklists and stuff. But that's it. This is it. It's always cool stuff, and I could show you the baby grand or some other stuff that's in. And then we're good. Yeah. That's it. I love this thing. It's cool. Yeah, it's perfect in here. We've got the walnut flooring.
Right, the acoustics.
Yeah, so it creates really cool acoustic. It's like it's a really large room. It's technically it's a petite grand, but it has a really cool timbre, and for all the dark stuff I do.
And what year was this again?
50 to 55 Wurlitzer, and then all the cinematic dark stuff I do. We use this. So it's slightly out of tune from when it got moved.
Right. But it gives a character, man.
We leave it that way.
Right.
So everyone always asks, what did you use in post to make it all dissonant? And I'm like, no, that's the piano and that's the room. And then so usually there's all the boom stands in here and everything like that. But anyhow, this is great. I do all my writing on here. A lot of my hooks on the guitar are not done on the guitar. They're always on a piano now.
See, that's what I do, man, is write on piano and translate that to guitar.
Yeah, so it's a lot better to just you have both hands. I can work out a piece. If I have someone coming over that we're writing, I'm like, no. What's your accompaniment? Like, what is your bass line? Exactly. Well, I didn't think of that. Well, we need to work that out. So even if they're just poking at it and I can do melody on the right hand, there's a huge difference. And this serves its purpose. So I was writing for Norman Reedus' show on from The Walking Dead. Cool, man. And that's how I was able to get when I got this to do that show, and that was a fun project. So. But that's it. It's missing some key tops. I don't care.
No, as long as it's got the goods.
It's got vibe, man. It's cool. Yeah.
Vibe in a box.
Yeah. Good.
That's
it.
Thank you, Jason, man, for being on Beyond the Surf. We're going to take off here because he's got a roll. But everything that we've talked about and what Jason's spoken about, all you will find in the description with links down below. And please hit the subscribe and the like and hit that bell to be reminded of new episodes that are coming up. So stay cool and hang with the reverb and more reverb. And this is Beyond the Surf, and we will catch you soon.
See ya.